Have you ever wondered whether you can be over-prepared for a performance? Now, it's clearly possible to be under-prepared, and that can have potentially disastrous consequences, but does it work the other way around as well? In this video, I'll show you how to make sure that all the preparation you do actually goes towards improving your performance rather than holding you back. So let me start by saying that no, I don't think that you can have too much technique, too much theory, or generally be over-prepared for performing. All those things are good. All those things are always going to help if you have more of them, as long as you apply them in the right way. So what happens, I think, when people feel like they were over-prepared is not so much that there was too much preparation, but it was the wrong type of preparation, or the way they were thinking about getting prepared was actually then holding them back from applying all that stuff they'd done in performance. Now, the one potential exception to this is if you're just practicing too many hours a day in general, but that's a whole other topic. So if you find yourself feeling that you're going wrong because of over-preparation, or that you think it's stifling your creativity or something like that, it's almost certainly just because of the way that you're thinking about it, or down to the type of preparation that you're doing. So there's two things that I want you to take into account and consider when you're planning to get ready for something. And the first is that last-minute cramming just isn't going to help most of the time. Because what you need when you're performing is stuff that is in your long-term memory, so that you can access it without having to really think about it. Basically, your subconscious is capable of doing it without you getting involved. That's where things really come through in performance. And if you're trying to shove stuff like that into your practice to get it into your memory right at the last moment, first of all, at best, that's only going to go into your short-term memory. And secondly, you're actually sending a message to your brain, to your subconscious, that you are not suitably prepared. There is a feeling there, I need to do more practice because I'm not ready yet. And that can actually result in you having a little bit less self-belief, less confidence, and that can affect your performance as well. Now, this absolutely does not mean that you can't or shouldn't do any practice immediately before the performance. It just means that the practice that you do then as you get closer to the performance, and depending on your own particular makeup, whatever, this might be talking about the hours before it, or a few days before, depending on how long you've been preparing for. But that practice that you do relatively close to the performance is going to want to be more about generally applicable stuff. Maybe warm-ups just before the performance, maybe the morning of the performance, or a couple of days before, you're going for just general technical exercises that you always work on to keep your technique up to a good level, rather than stuff that is specifically being learnt for that performance, that sort of thing. So you're still able to practice and get a lot out of it before the performance, but it doesn't want to feel like last-minute cramming, stuff that, I don't know enough already, I need to learn more. It's just, what's my regular maintenance that keeps me in a good state to play my best generally? And the other thing that you want to be aware of is the relationship between details and the big picture. Because a lot of our practice is going into small details, and that's great, that's really important. We want to get the details right. But when it comes to performance, it's very rarely the small details that stand out. What the audience are going to get is that big picture, and it needs to be a whole unified performance rather than just a string of lots of different individual details that are kind of feel separate and they've just been artificially tied together. So in order to be prepared to give a great performance as you get closer to it, you want to be thinking more about practicing things that are that big picture concept and how things all fit together and make a whole, rather than doing those individual, how do I polish each little detail? So that's the other aspect to consider. The closer you get to the time, the more your practice wants to shift from those details, as you will probably be working on to start with, and into, what's the big picture stuff that I'm communicating, and what do I want to work on to do that best? So there you go. You shouldn't need to worry about whether you're doing too much preparation, as long as you're taking enough time to think about whether you're doing the right type of preparation. If you'd like to know more about how to find the right balance between detail and big picture, then check out my video on how to pick the ideal practice topics next. And if you'd like the special practice and performance tips that I only share with subscribers, then head on over to playinthezone.com and sign up for the emails. They're free. I've been Mark Morley-Fletcher. Thanks so much for watching. Please click below to subscribe if you haven't done so already, and while you're down there, why not hit the share button to pass this video on to other musicians? Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.